Chat.
Are you able to say like the sort of activities that the movement, not even you specifically, or the groups you worked with, but the movement in general was doing? Because as of now, the only thing anybody knows how to do is those protests where you hold signs and coffee get-togethers. That's it. That's 100% of what they know how to do. And I don't
Yeah,
think
have
anybody,
meetings.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. They have meetings to have meetings. Yeah,
yeah, and they hang around and talk about nothing and go home.
yeah. Okay. So what they need to do is okay, they need to have a meeting in which they decide what their goals are. Okay. Oh yeah, I can see you again. Okay.
Okay, so you said you got to have a meeting where you decide what your goals are, and then
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You got to write that down,
write it down.
and then after you decide what your goals are, then you need to decide who is going to participate in each goal and what their job is going to be.
Yeah,
Okay, all right, and then once that is decided, then you have to stay on top of the people who are okay. Okay, let's say um, I don't know what. Let's say one person is going to go out and shoot videos of cops stopping people. Let's say something like that, right?
yeah,
And then what you have to do is you have to make yourself of a form where this person can show that he or she is actually doing the job, okay?
yeah.
Or you can have somebody else check on them or something of that sort. But there's got to be some sort of check and balance. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay? Because otherwise, people can say that they're going to do such and such, and they never do it, or if they do it half-ass. Okay? So you have to set in paper, have to set in concrete that a person is going to do such and such thing, how it's going to get done, when is it going to get done, and and when the timeline comes along, you have to look at it and see if it was done the way it's supposed to get done and when it was supposed to get done. And if it wasn't done that way, then you have to dispense with that person, put them on another lower level of ability, and get somebody else to fulfill the goal. That make any sense to you?
That makes a lot of sense in terms of
Huh?
that makes a lot of sense, especially in
Yeah.
terms of like what it looks like from the internal organization.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
uh, in terms of deciding what activities to partake in, though, how can an organization decide whether or not that it's like worth doing? Because like here's just a very like sort of extreme example. Like a lot of organizations will claim that they need to be doing like direct action and and participate in the voting system, but then they'll put all of their effort into voting, and that ends up being it. Um, and they're not able to make a determination that that's not helping them, that that's not moving
Yeah.
their like any sort of goals forward. So, like to me, it sounds like choosing goals that you can decide materially move something forward, like in a very concrete and obvious way. But I don't know how that looks at all. Like, I've never been part of an organization that managed to
What,
get shit done. So,
what, what you got to do is you got to sit down with your group and designate who. Okay, number one, you need to. Okay, first, you need to find out in your town or city what are the social justice things that need to be done. Okay, but you need to designate a person or people to do that job. Okay, to find out what those things are. Okay,
yeah.
once you find out what those things are, then you need to prioritize how your group is going to participate in getting these things done.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
uh, but what is the most important thing? Which one of these things is hurting the people the most?
So it's
Okay,
about
or
going
the
out
least?
into the community. You got to get out into the
Yeah,
community and talk to people
yeah,
about
right,
what they need help with.
right. It might even require you to take a few polls, okay,
Yeah,
of regular people, giving ask them questions and them giving answers. You know what I'm saying? You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. What if what if the thing that people need help with is something like homelessness, like uh or you know, not being able to afford food, like how do you help with such a big problem as a small organization? Like what did you see your organizations do to respond to big community issues?
Well, then I would elicit the help of some commercial enterprises that maybe that has vans or 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 maybe okay, if you got a commercial enterprise that has a number of vans at their disposal, and then you take those vans and you go around the dumpsters and you pick up food that is day old in grocery stores or something of that sort. Okay, then you have people who have to drive, and you have people who has to designate where they can go and drop off the food, and then maybe you have other people that are designated to find out if people need to have food that they can cook or food that they can eat out of a can or something of that sort. You know, saying it's all imagine. So it's all a matter of making various decisions and following the numbers of the decisions down to the bottom line.
That makes a lot of
That makes
sense.
sense,
Yep, complete
huh?
sense. Complete sense, yeah. 'Cause yeah, there's been a lot of people observing these companies throwing away a large amount of food, and a lot of orgs would
Yeah,
shy away from doing something like that because they'd be like, "Oh, it's illegal. Who gives a fuck? They're throwing away food.
right.
Take it." Um, okay. No, that's very helpful.
Yeah, so yeah, you you have to start at the top and work your way down, okay? And
Yeah,
and as you work your way down, there's going to be a number of people involved, and they have either verbally committed to doing such and such, and then you being the leader, you have to make sure that they actually get this stuff done, or if they're not doing it at all, do they have to be replaced with somebody who is willing to get the stuff done, so forth and so on.
yeah. And the reason I brought up big examples like that, like food and homelessness, is because as people let things get worse by like either lack of action or lack of educated action or what have you, the problems the community is facing is getting way worse. Uh,
Yeah,
so I feel like orgs are gonna have to answer big issues like that. Like I feel like a big one would be community defense. Like there should be armed people showing up to these ice raids and saying, "Fuck no, we'll defend our
yeah,
community," But um, a lot of these orgs shy away from using guns or things like that, even though guns are a perfectly legal thing to have in the United States. Uh, everybody's got a fucking gun. A lot of people have multiple guns.
oh,
So,
it's interesting that some years ago in Tucson, okay, yeah, during the time that when 47 got originally elected, there was in Tucson when all the rallies and the protests and all that kind of stuff was going on. There was a group formed to keep people safe.
yeah,
Right, their job was to keep people safe, keep them out of keep them from getting tangled up with police, keep them from doing things that they're not that are contrary to the goals. Okay, uh, keep agitators out of the mix. You know what I'm saying, and so forth and so
yeah,
on.
yeah.
There was yeah,
It's
yeah,
almost like the
there was,
anti-police community. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like it's, yeah. So that would be very, very useful in current movements because people have no guidance. And I've seen people, like, I remember an agitator during the George Floyd protest that came in, and it was like again, a white guy, an anarchist, and he was encouraging some very strange things. And people were looking for guidance, but nobody was an authority figure to stand in and say, hey, fuck this guy. Um, Beware of people like this. We're going to do
Yeah,
this instead. And I think people need that, especially younger folks where it's their sort of their first experience being involved in direct action of some kind, you know?
yeah,
I don't even know if any of those protests are still going on. I haven't seen anything in the last couple of days, so it seems like it was just 5 days and then everybody maybe went home, which checks out.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
usually how it goes.
Yeah,
But
that's usually how it goes. Yeah, right.
yeah, it
But
makes me sad though.
but it's interesting that something like 3 million people participated.
You know, but it just makes me mad now. Because I'm like, you have these numbers, and what's the point in these numbers if we're not going to do anything with it? So I keep talking about it, online. I'm like, hey, what is the goal? The goal? What is the demands? What is going
Yeah,
on?
right.
Um, but there's no organizations giving anybody any answers to that. So
Yeah, and I don't know. I think it's the fault of those who really who originally started with planning the movement. Okay, I think they just said, well, we're going to do this on such and such date, and we'll be done with it. When actually they could have uh, arranged for a whole lot of these other people that participated in doing certain other actions
yeah,
that last throughout, let's say, throughout the month or something of that sort.
yeah. Yeah, or like rotate people. Because there is an issue right now where everybody's working like multiple jobs. So something that organizers often face is people can't continue doing stuff because they're living paycheck to paycheck basically
Yeah,
and have kids or whatever. But um, if you're to stagger when you send people out to do shit, there could always be a presence. Even if it's not 3 million people all at once on one day, you know?
yeah,
So that's something folks should definitely think about. But I think it also, I mean, I can't place all the blame with organizers themselves because I know that cops and feds are a big reason for throwing things off. People get on the right track and then have wreckers come in and, and then they get it scares them and, like
yeah,
I think there's a lot of resources put into that. But at the same time, like this is always going to be a problem and it's only going to get worse as technology gets better, as they've got AI to start sniffing us out for whatever the fuck, you know, organizing we try to do it. Like we can't shy away from this shit just because we're scared of that because it's always going to be a problem. Always. And
well,
always was.
my opinion is okay. Like I said, back in my day, I was a member of a group that got things done.
Yeah.
Okay, but I always believed there should be a group of people who knew how to organize shit, and
Yeah.
and and and, and they could be hired out to various other groups. Say we want to do such and such. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
we don't have the expertise. You know what I'm saying? And you're in Philadelphia, and you call this group in New York or something. Do you have such and such person? Oh yeah, we got 3 or 4 people. Okay, and then you send somebody down there to organize the rally or the protest or what have you, okay, and to keep people in check, okay, and keep people involved and stuff and so forth and so on, okay. I always believe that there should have been a group of people that did that, other than those of us who did the clandestine shit.
Yeah, you're saying like it's better to have multiple different sorts of organizations that serve different functions but work together rather than one
Yeah,
that's trying to do it all, basically.
yeah,
That makes sense. Plus, I suppose it'd be harder to, because if 4 out of 5 of the organizations are operating perfectly within the realms of legality, it keeps everybody safer. Um, Especially the one that's doing the clandestine shit.
yeah.